From movie screens to TV scenes, movie reviews and everything between. Top 5 breakdowns, favorites win, celebrity conversations pull you in. Hit record, let the reel begin. Big screens, bold takes, let's dive in. Step into the spotlight. Welcome to Wilhelm!
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Wilhelm. I am your host, Ben Beck, and I got a really special one for you today. So, a few weeks ago, I wrote and published an editorial about Dropout TV, and honestly, I wasn't expecting the response to it that I got. Not because I didn't believe in what I was saying, but because I think a lot of us are feeling the same thing right now when it comes to entertainment and streaming. You know, we are overloaded with content right now. Every platform is fighting for our attention. Everything out there feels louder, it feels bigger, it feels faster, and it feels more algorithm driven than ever before, which I'm not sure is the right way things need to be. Somewhere along the way, a lot of what made entertainment feel personal started getting really lost. But Dropout just feels different. And after sitting with those thoughts for a while, I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to speak directly with the man helping lead that platform, meaning Dropout, and that's Sam Reich. I got to speak with him himself. So before I get into that conversation, I want to talk a little bit about why Dropout has resonated with me the way it has, and why I think it's resonating with so many other people right now. So like I said, right now there's really no shortage of streaming platforms that are out there competing for not just yours, but everyone's attention. Between the billion-dollar studios, endless content libraries, autoplay algorithms, and platforms consistently trying to keep you scrolling, the modern viewing experience has become less about discovery and more about saturation. There's always something to watch, and somehow at the same time, it's never been easier to feel like there's nothing worth watching. And that's where Dropout quietly separates itself completely from the pack. I've been watching Dropout for quite a while now, and honestly, I can't even tell you the first thing I watched on Dropout. I can't think back and tell you what it was anymore. I think it was an episode of Make Some Noise, but I'm not sure. I've been watching it for so long at this point that the exact entry point I entered into Dropout content is kind of a blur. And weirdly enough, I think that says something very important, because what it means is that Dropout didn't win me over with one giant viral moment or one massive flagship show. It won me over with consistency. I'm sure, like a lot of people, I remember seeing clips of Game Changer, Make Some Noise pop up online, whether it be on YouTube or TikTok, moments that genuinely at the time made me stop scrolling and go, what is this? Like, what am I watching? And not necessarily in the sense of just a quick laugh, but really genuine curiosity. It made me want to go and check it out. Once I started diving deeper into the platform, into Dropout, it became very clear very quickly that this wasn't just another niche streaming service trying to carve out a lane. Dropout had, by the time I found it, at the very least, had already found its identity. I mean, while a lot of platforms are chasing scale, Dropout has focused less on the scale, but more on identity. It knows exactly what it is. It knows who it serves. And maybe most importantly, it understands why its content works, why their content works. You feel that in everything from Game Changer to Dimension 20 to Make Some Noise to Gastronauts to very important people. It doesn't matter what it is, you feel it. There's a consistency there, not just in quality, but in voice. Nothing feels overly manufactured. Nothing feels focus grouped to death. Nothing feels like it was built by a committee. There is just a looseness to the performances. There's a trust in the performers themselves. There's this willingness to let comedic or genius, whatever way you want to look at it, there's a willingness to let those moments breathe. And honestly, that is the kind of trust that is very rare when it comes to content and streaming and what we're processing nowadays. And what's surprised me most is that over time, how much that connection has managed to extend beyond the screen. I can tell you personally with my own friend group, people that I genuinely consider my family, we all have wildly different tastes in entertainment, in what we consume. It's actually pretty rare that one show or one platform overlaps across all of us as consistently. And yet somehow Dropout became that common ground. Whether we're quoting a game changer bit or we're talking about a system being used in Dimension 20 that we're getting ready to currently do now, referencing some kind of thing that the Noise Boys did on Make Some Noise, or just bringing up moments that we watched recently. Dropout always comes up. It became part of our everyday vernacular. And honestly, that kind of shared connection is very, very rare. It's not just content that you watch, it's content that you talk about. It's content that you share. It's content that sticks with you. And because of that, something very interesting starts to happen. You genuinely start to root for the people involved. When someone like Brennan Lee Mulligan shows up somewhere outside of Dropout, like when he did an episode of Ted, or Jeremy Colhane lands on Saturday Night Live and he's doing Tucker Carlson impersonations, or Caitlin Riley pops up on At Midnight, or Vic Michaelis has her other projects, Josh Rubin's directing movies, you immediately have the reaction when you see them of, oh, that's awesome. You genuinely are happy for them. And that kind of emotional investment can't be measured. That only happens when audiences are able to trust the people behind the platform. And another thing that really elevates Dropout for me is how naturally inclusive the environment feels. And I want to be very clear here. I'm not talking performatively inclusive, not inclusion as branding. On Dropout, inclusion feels foundational. Different voices, different backgrounds, different identities, different perspectives, they exist naturally within the ecosystem of all of Dropout's content. And more importantly, the environment feels safe enough for performers to actually be themselves. That comfort translates directly to the screen. The comedy from the content, it just feels more natural because of that. The storytelling feels more honest. The interactions feel more authentic. And audiences can feel that authenticity. We feel it. And honestly, I think that's part of why supporting Dropout feels different too than just watching. Supporting feels just as different because we all complain about subscription increases now. We are rotating services. We question value consistently. Platforms are always raising their prices and we wonder, is it worth it? Dropout is one of the only platforms where I've genuinely had the opposite reaction. Instead of asking, is this worth it? Is the money I'm giving to Dropout worth it? I have found myself asking instead, how can I support this more? And I really do mean that sincerely. Like I subscribe directly to the website. I subscribe through YouTube. I have gone to live shows. I've bought merch off the website, and not because I feel it's an obligation. I don't feel obligated to do these things. It's because it feels like supporting something built with actual care. It feels like supporting something I genuinely want to support. And after spending a good amount of time thinking about, after publishing that editorial, thinking about why Dropout resonates the way it does. I had the genuine privilege to sit and spend some time with the man who helped shape that vision, Sam Reich. And what followed wasn't just a conversation about season 8 of Game Changer, which is coming soon. We didn't just talk about Emmy conversations. We didn't talk about Game Changer, the Home Edition. We didn't just talk about Game Changer, the Home Edition. We actually had a pretty awesome moment about it. And you'll see that because it crossed the $1 million mark as we were talking. But it became more a conversation about creative freedom, about responsibility, about fandom, sustainability, and why audiences are connecting with Dropout in such a powerful way right now. Now, before we jump into the conversation itself, I do want to quickly mention and apologize in advance for those of you watching, for the video quality of the conversation with Sam and I. If you're listening, the audio is fine, but if you're watching, the video quality is kind of substandard. Both Sam and I were actually working with 4K cameras on our end, but unfortunately, once you're recording remotely through Zoom, you're kind of at the mercy of what Zoom decides to give you back when it comes to the final recording. So, the quality is not that great. And while I could have tried using AI enhancement tools to kind of upscale everything afterwards, I tried. I personally feel like those processes tend to create a really artificial look that takes away from the authenticity of the conversation that Sam and I had itself. Rather than overprocess it, I wanted to preserve the conversation as naturally as I possibly could. So I didn't use any of those AI tools on it, although I did think about it. And I tried it with small clips, but I just decided not to. And before I get into the conversation, of course, I also want to sincerely thank the people over at Creative Publicity for helping to make this happen and for giving me the opportunity to spend some time with Sam. I genuinely appreciate it. I've been working on this for probably almost 2 years now, conversing with them, and I kind of geeked out a little bit, but I want you guys to enjoy it. So here it is. Stay tuned when the conversation is over. I will come back, but here it is, my conversation with Sam Reich. Yeah, Sam. So I just want to say I'm so excited to have this opportunity to speak with you. I've been looking forward to this. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this for such a long time. If for nothing else, to just kind of say thank you, because Dropout has become such a regular part of my life and the conversations I have with the people that are close to me. It's, no matter when we're hanging out, something Dropout always comes up, whether we're talking about something. It's become part of our like everyday vernacular. So if for no reason, for nothing else, thank you for that.
You can't imagine how fulfilling that is to hear. I mean, it really is like an entertainer's objective, just to be a part of the lives of some fans.
Mhm.
And what's happened to Dropout the last handful of years, just in terms of the people like you and your community that it's reaching, it's a total pinch ourselves scenario. I say this all the time. I might be in a coma in a hospital. If so, don't wake me up.
Wait, does that mean we're just a part of your dream sequence and we don't actually exist?
Yes, in the lore that I've established, you are my fantasy fans.
We're just NPCs in your dream. I kind of dig it. I kind of dig it. When you look back at everything, it feels like Dropout went from this best kept secret to being now in legitimate Emmy conversation. And so I'm curious, from your perspective, when did it feel like it shifted?
For us, it's a bit of a frog in boiling water scenario where I don't experience it as a seismic shift. I experience it as every year just a little more.
Mhm.
But I also think a combination of maybe imposter syndrome and insecurity. I don't look at Dropout as like more than that fledgling little company that we started out as. And any time we enter into the quote unquote big leagues for any reason, I have the distinct feeling of like, being a little animated chinchilla entering into the big city for the first time, where
Mhm.
I'm like, I've got my bindle on a stick on my back, and we're going to do the best we can, and we could be run over by a taxi cab any moment.
But you know what though? That's such a great humbling attitude to have too. It's the whole never getting too big for your britches kind of scenario. You know, when you never
For
look at
sure.
yourself more than, like you said, that little company that you started so many years ago. But
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, we are still the little company that could, and there are lots of ways in which I think Dropout hasn't grown up, and other ways in which I hope we don't ever grow up to be the kind of mainstream company or mainstream media company that dominate this industry. Like
mhm.
our kind of upstart status is part of our DNA. And by the way, if you look at like the really big fish, like the Netflixes and the HBOs of the world, or is it Max now, or is it HBO Max now?
Whatever it is, it
Whatever it
keeps
is.
changing. It'll be
Uh,
Paramount soon at some point.
yeah, or is it? Or is it Ellison TV? The uh, whatever whatever that is, they are so much bigger than we are that we could be 10 times the size we are, and we would still be
Still be the little
10
company that,
times less the size that they
yeah,
are. So the
yeah.
ceiling, let's just say the ceiling is far away.
But you know what? One of the great things that I love about Dropout, and this just goes back to the support that we show, because I know I'm not just like this, but you're the one streaming service I know and the one company I know that anytime I have opportunities to give you more money, I end up doing it. Like I subscribe to the website, I subscribe to YouTube, and like I buy the merch. It's like anytime all these other companies raise their prices, we bitch and we complain. But Dropout comes out and says, "Oh, we're going to raise it." Sure, can we go higher than that? Like let's go.
That was a funny day. We raised our prices, but we didn't raise them for anyone who was an existing subscriber.
Mhm.
And what we saw that day was that a huge number of people unsubscribed. It
And
was a
then
very high day
resubscribe.
for, and then resubscribed. So
Yep.
also a very high day for reactivations.
Yeah.
Which look, I mean, uh, as a brand, that's obviously a very fortunate position to be in. But it's because the fandom is very passionate, and because I think the fandom sees us as the kind of company that they can get behind, not only because they like the product, but because they like the company and what it stands
Mhm.
for. And we take that responsibility very seriously. Um, we're in an unusual and fortunate position of having no shareholders and no private equity. So there's literally like no one at this company above me. Like
Mhm.
the buck stops here at 5'7" or 5'6". Um, I almost lied about my height there. That was very funny.
Yeah, we would have
Uh,
known. We would have known.
um, but what that means is that we have what we feel like is a responsibility to both be very decent, and then the odd simultaneous responsibility of like running the company just pragmatically in such a way that's sustainable, so that we don't um uh like fail vis-a-vis our idealism either.
Yeah.
So it's um it's a low pedestal in the sense of like the stakes again of running this business are low as compared to running a business 100 times its size, but it's a pedestal all the same, and we take it seriously.
Yeah. I kind of want to, so I've been monitoring something this entire time that we've been talking, and I'm sure you've been
You and me
monitoring it
both.
on your end too. The Game Changer Home Edition just launched not even 2 hours ago with a $40,000 goal. And while we've been talking, you just broke $1 million on the
We
Kickstarter.
sure did.
That
We
is
sure did.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
Congratulations
wow.
on that. That's huge.
Thanks, man. Is that, I think that's $1 million within 2 hours
Yeah,
of
less than
of
2 hours because you
launching.
launched it, I think, at well noon Eastern Standard for me.
Yeah, yeah, God,
How does that
that's
feel?
wild.
Like that's a huge. Did you expect it at all?
You know, you really don't know what to expect with something like this. I think look, for the most part, and I like that this is the case, to be a Dropout fan means to subscribe to us on a monthly basis, and that's all it means.
Mhm.
And we actually want for there to be limited opportunities to express your fandom in any other way, because we don't want for the core Dropout fan to feel left out of anything. So what that means is that the opportunity to support Dropout in other instances is going to be sort of like one-off entrepreneurial efforts like this, or
Mhm.
Superfan, which is a burgeoning effort for us as well. And you just like, you don't know how the fandom is going to show up until you ask, really. You can fantasize, but it's hard to put into metrics. It's hard to guess. So I think, I knew that there was a chance of something like this for sure. But we'll see how it continues to evolve. I will say
Yeah.
this. I'm really proud of the game, and that's what's most important, because if all of these people were flooding into the campaign and I didn't like the game, or I thought the game was okay, this would give me tremendous performance anxiety.
Yeah.
And instead, what's really fun to imagine is that all these people are going to be playing the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I'm part of a group of TTRP gamers who, like anytime there's a great game that comes out, one of us backs it because at least we'll have it and somebody will bring it to the table.
Nice.
But this is the first instance where I think like half of us are already backing or have backed the game. I backed it like around like within the first hour I backed it. And
Oh,
I'm
thanks,
so
man.
excited for what, for what it's going to bring. And that I got to talk to you when it broke that milestone, which was huge. Um, when
That's
you
so
look back,
funny. We were both looking at it. We weren't talking about
we're
it with each
both
other.
monitoring it.
Totally a little hit of endorphin that neither of us, or a hit of catharsis that neither of us talked about.
Yeah. When you look, kind of going back to the whole Emmy contention thing and such, when you look at Dropout, Dropout kind of lived outside of the traditional system for a good amount of time. And now it looks like, through these Emmy campaigns and such, it looks like it's now starting to get recognized by that system that it's lived outside of. Do you kind of feel like it's the industry catching up to what you guys are doing with content on Dropout, or do you think it's maybe Dropout redefining what success looks like in regards to content?
I'll answer that honestly, Ben, which is to say that like I don't know that the industry is really recognizing us yet. I mean, there is some corners of it that are. Variety's been very kind to us for
Hmm.
last year and this year. Variety put us on their short list of who they expect would be nominated for an Emmy. But you know, we're up in a category where roughly the same 5 shows, or 7 or 8 shows, with very few exceptions, have been nominated year after year after year. These are very traditional network television shows. For us to be able to break through, uh it might take some more pushing before that happens.
Hmm.
There are I know the fans will show up, right? Like when we did Dimension 20 at Madison Square Garden, we filled a 20,000 seat arena with Dimension 20 fans. When that happened, there are certainly people who sit up and take notice, for sure.
Hmm.
But Hollywood is in a tough spot right now, and it's not. Hollywood is not adapting quickly, and to the situation that it's in. And as a part of not adapting quickly, I don't think that Hollywood has exactly woken up to Dropout or companies like it as serious contenders. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it almost feels like you said, kind of to your note, that like it feels like Hollywood is almost devolving to the situation that they're in and giving in a little too much more than it should, which in
Yeah.
essence kind of makes Dropout stand out even more, when you look at that, because that's what you're not doing.
Yeah. There's an element of that for sure.
Yeah. I know we're getting close to the end of our time. So I want to close out by saying that, with season 8 of Game Changer coming, getting ready to hit May 18th, we just had we were just talking about the home edition that is obliterating its goal. Um, what excites you most about what fans are going to experience next with everything, not just with Game Changer, but with Dropout?
Yeah. It's a great question. I mean, I think with Game Changer, the real fun and privilege of Game Changer is that I'm in a very rare position as its creator, where I get to play around with a bigger and bigger pot of resources to create a show where there's no one standing in my way.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that sort of falls on over into Dropout and is something for fans to be excited about as it relates to Dropout in general is, at the end of the day, even as Dropout gets bigger, we're still a pretty small and intimate company that is set up to be able to do pretty creatively innovative and interesting stuff. And I think that we are meeting that opportunity. Like, I think that better ideas have come out of this group of people in the last year than ever before in its history, as it relates to programming, as it relates to Game Changer, as it relates to the company period.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to work at a place where that's all possible. I feel like I'm sitting on a mountain of fun little secrets.
I swear, anytime I watch an episode of Make Some Noise or Game Changer or anything that you're hosting, I'm like, I know there's so much work that's involved in producing that, but he looks like he has the best job in the world because he just gets to go to work and laugh every day.
I really do. I mean, it is absolutely an all you can eat buffet of the best work you can imagine, and at times very filling. By which I mean not unstressful, but you could not ask for a better raw bar.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Sam, I so wish we had more time. Maybe there'll be another opportunity in the future.
I hope there is, Ben. I sincerely do. I'm sure there will be.
I hope so. I really hope so. But congratulations on the huge milestone of the Kickstarter for the home game. Congratulations on the upcoming 8th season, the Emmy contention, everything you've got going on. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me. This was, if you could measure the smile on my face just from the excitement I had to be able to talk to you, it's been unreal.
That's very kind of you, man. I super appreciate your fandom and reaching out about this. And yeah, let's do it again by all means.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, thank you again so much. So I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. And after talking to Sam, I think what really stood out the most is the sincerity behind how this genuinely feels. Not just the creativity, not just the comedy, not just, of course, the success, but the responsibility. And at one point during our conversation, Sam had talked about how seriously they take the trust their audience places in them. And honestly, I think if there's anything to take away from this the most, I think that's it. That's the difference. Dropout doesn't feel like a company trying to endlessly maximize engagement or chase trends. It feels like a company trying to create something meaningful while respecting both the people making the content and, of course, the people supporting it. And in a media landscape where so much entertainment can start to feel impersonal, it can start to feel manufactured or disconnected, that sincerity genuinely matters. That authenticity matters. And I think that's exactly why so many people are connecting with Dropout right now. And of course, before I wrap this up, I have to send a huge thank you to Sam for taking the time to have this conversation with me. This was something, as I said, I've been looking forward to for a very long time. And I am incredibly grateful, not just for the opportunity itself, but for how thoughtful, open, and genuine the conversation ended up being. Hopefully, this is just the first of many conversations I'll get to have in the future with Sam. So yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed and see. But as always, thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, Make sure to subscribe to Wilhelm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow along on social media at Wilhelm Podcast. And make sure to visit welcometowilhelm.com, which is the official website for movie reviews, interviews, other editorials, and more. I promise there's a lot more coming. But until next time, everybody, thank you guys so much for being a part of this journey, and take care.